Here we have Sundry Sports for Monday, August 3rd, beginning today with the Dallas Cowboys newsletter. Welcome back. For the first time this entire offseason, nearly the entire roster was at the Star in Frisco. Veterans such as Dak Prescott were cleared to be in the building as the team prepares for the start of camp later this month. Getting started. Watch exclusive video of head coach Mike McCarthy's first in-person meeting with his veteran players as the team gets ready for training camp under unprecedented circumstances. Yeah, it is absolutely unacceptable that they've never had an in-person meeting before. I hate that. It's so stupid. Madden ratings, who cares? I know, nothing else to talk about, right? The official Madden 21 video game won't be released until August 28th, but the player ratings are out. Check out the top 25 Cowboys according to their Madden ratings. As if that matters. Moving on, we have NASCAR today also, as there was a race yesterday. Brad Keselowski wins NASCAR Cup Series race at New Hampshire. Is that a lobster? That's a lobster. Why is that a lobster? With 2 wins in his pocket heading into Sunday's Foxwoods Resort Casino 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, Brad Keselowski was already in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, but it was this third win of 2020 that came in the sort of dominating style the championship contender hoped would show his team's readiness to challenge other people. Kevin Harvick, for one, he's been doing great. Kyle Busch out early after a hard hit at New Hampshire. The tough times in 2020 continued for Kyle Busch at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Yeah, I'd noticed he hasn't been doing too hot. Every time I had him on fantasy, it wouldn't go well. Jimmy Johnson places 12th at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Jimmy Johnson finished 12th in the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. He was the one that had the COVID. And here he is back racing. He's one of the older ones too, and apparently it didn't hurt him. William Byron finishes 11th at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. William Byron finished 11th in the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Is that notable for William Byron? I think he's finished higher than that before, hasn't he? 2020 stage points for the NASCAR Cup Series. Every 2020 race except the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway is comprised of 3 stages. And they're going to talk about those stage points. Oh, bespoke post themed boxes for guys who give a damn. Free to join. Eric Almirola drives number 10 Ford Mustang to 7th place finish at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Eric Almirola finished 7th in the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Good for him. Matt DiBenedetto drives number 21 Ford to 6th place finish. Cole Custer takes 8th at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I'm not entirely sure why we're so concerned with 8th, 6th, 7th, and 11th, but okay. And 12th. That's it for NASCAR. Lobster. New Hampshire, I guess, because I guess the lobster is a symbol of New Hampshire. Anyway, Cowboys Wire brought to you by USA Today. Cowboys news. Gallup leap in year 3. Cornerback has COVID. Kicker comp is off competition. Yes, because they released Kai Forbath because of the NFL's new rule that they have to be cut down to 80 on the roster before training camp even starts. Ridiculous. All right, I think this is new, so we'll read it. Wide receiver Michael Gallup doubled his production from his rookie campaign in 2019. However, improving on his drop issues, coupled with the... I don't recall him having any large drop issues. Coupled with the addition of CeeDee Lamb, could see his game reach an even higher plateau this season. Kicker Kai Forbath re-signed with the Cowboys on a one-year deal in March, but with a longer investment tied into the new special teams coaches guy made a decision before the competition. Okay. Safety Donovan Wilson shined during last year's preseason, but will have a much tougher route in 2020 with exhibition games being eliminated, as he looks to compete for a starting role. Yep. The preseason has value, yet for some reason, it wasn't just about COVID, because apparently it's a known fact that the Players Association has been trying to do away with the preseason altogether in the past. They just took this opportunity to strong-arm the NFL into doing it. 2 games would have been fine. The current panic has again landed at the Cowboys' doorstep as cornerback Savion Smith has been placed on the reserve/COVID-19 list. Stephen Jones's excitement about the receiving corps, how Mike McCarthy embracing analytics could lead to huge results, and where Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott land in a 2016 redraft, and more are covered in the news and notes. Cowboys reserve cornerback Savion Smith diagnosed with COVID-19. Savion Smith becomes the second Cowboys player, after Jon'Vea Johnson, to land on the reserve/COVID-19 list. This brings the total of players impacted through quarantine or opt-out to 4. Why do they keep putting those together? An opt-out is for the entire season. A quarantine is for a couple of weeks. There's no reason why those guys should not be playing in the regular season. Mike McCarthy's embracing of analytics could be the key difference for the 2020 Dallas Cowboys. Mike McCarthy let it be known that he became up to date with the analytical side of football during his time away from the NFL, and that could lead to monster success in 2020. Safety Donovan Wilson facing challenging second year without preseason games. Safety Donovan Wilson was the Cowboys' defensive standout during last year's preseason with 3 interceptions. Unfortunately, the versatile second-year talent is facing a tough 2020 with exhibition games now canceled. Wasn't the Players Association supposed to make decisions that are good for players? They only care about the elite, right? That seems to be all that the union cares about. Stephen Jones hasn't seen anything like Cowboys wide receiver corps. The addition of CeeDee Lamb has Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones excited about the team's aerial assault. Plexiglass and trackers and high-tech laundry. From Jerry Jones on down, rigorous COVID-19 protocols await Cowboys. Extreme measures have been taken to keep the Star in Frisco safe for all Cowboys players and personnel. Very depressing measures. It's going to be bad for morale. How DeMarcus Ware opened a fitness center during a panic. Former Cowboys great DeMarcus Ware has used his time during the COVID-19 panic constructively by opening up a fitness center. Good for him that he's got enough money to keep it going. And apparently he chose to open up in a place where the politicians aren't trying to squash small business. After an impressive 2019 campaign, Michael Gallup can take another leap in 2020. Improving on his drop issue, I don't remember him having a particular drop issue. Maybe that's just me, whatever. And having CeeDee Lamb as a member of the Cowboys receiving corps, that's not how you spell that, could see Michael Gallup take his game to another level in 2020. COVID-19 ends Cowboys kicker competition before it starts. Forbath released. It's not the virus that did that. It's the overreaction to the virus. That's why I call it a panic all the time, because it's the panic that is ruining the country and ruining things for everybody, including Kai Forbath. Even after signing him to a one-year deal in March, the Cowboys have released kicker Kai Forbath, leaving Greg Zuerlein as the only player at the position on the roster. Prescott, number 1 in 2016 redraft. That's kind of weird. Cowboys Elliott drops out of top 10. That's really weird. Who the fuck made these decisions? A redraft of the 2016 NFL Draft has new landing spots for Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. The former went from a 4th rounder to the top overall pick, while the latter fell out of the top 10 after being drafted 4th overall. Something screwy about that. Alright, going back. COVID-19, yes, kicker. Redraft. 2021 mock draft, a tight end and quarterback and safety walk into a Cowboys bar. For some reason, already doing a mock draft for 2021. Cowboys news that I read yesterday. Breaking down Kellen Moore, trading Tank way to a Super Bowl. Oh, I didn't read that yesterday. I think I read that on Friday. Anyway, stuff. Cowboys fullback Jameis Olawale opts out of 2020 NFL season. Cowboys news, 2020 breakout candidates. Refs may struggle out box with no help. I did read that yesterday. Tough guy and I. Cowboys rookie edge to turn Utah production into pro career. And sibling rivalry, Trayvon Diggs has been practicing with his brother Stephon Diggs. Good. Good for us, probably. Alrighty. And now we have the ESPN Daily. Good morning! The Mets discovering Yoenis Cespedes was opting out of the 2020 season because he cleared out his belongings from his hotel room. Reminds me of the time I realized my relationship was over because my ex-boyfriend took the Keurig. Here's your ESPN Daily. Okay. Why did he do it like that? It's kind of messed up. NBA bubble life according to J.J. Redick. The NBA has made it through its first games on the restart, and J.J. Redick of the New Orleans Pelicans is happy to be hooping again, with rookie sensation Zion Williamson no less. On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, we get Redick's perspective on life in the bubble in Orlando, Florida, including his third best hotel situation. Then, Redick shares all the reasons this season is unlike any other and how he and his teammates are keeping momentum and focus on and off the court. Plus, Redick talks to Pablo Torres about his future podcast plans and finding his voice. Who won the weekend? A Larry legendary tomato. Tomatoes are great. You can disagree, but you'd be wrong to do so. They are not presumptuous. They just bring a little something extra to whatever situation you throw them into. That's why, over the weekend, when a Twitter user stumbled upon a tomato that commanded attention, it was big news. The tomato in question bore a striking resemblance to NBA Hall of Famer Larry Bird. If that tomato showed up and started draining threes at my family barbecue, I wouldn't ask questions. They even put a little hat on it. That's cute. A lot of other things happened over the weekend, like Mike Trout and the Bella Twins all welcoming new additions to their families, and Drake calling game. But the tomato obviously reigns supreme. Kidding, sort of. Things to care about. Real or fake? NBA Restart Edition. And just like that, the NBA is all the way back. Since Thursday night, the association has been serving up non-stop action, and I can honestly say I haven't been this happy since the coronavirus-induced hiatus began in March. Going to bed to the sound of the Lakers-Clippers rebroadcast? Priceless. As the games continue, we're starting to realize But some of the storylines we anticipated headed into bubble play were spot on. On the other hand, some of the developments are entirely unexpected. Here's looking at you, TJ Warren, and have left us with questions about what's next. Are the Grizzlies still favorites to get the final Western playoff spot even after suffering tight losses to the two teams closest to their tail? Is Raptors Bucks Part 2 going to happen? Can anyone get past the Lakers and Clippers in the West? Will the Mavericks' crunch time woes sink them? Can Jason Tatum repeat his Sunday performance, or is he doomed without a haircut prior to every game? Our NBA experts weighed in on 8 of the biggest trends and questions, answering if each recent development is real or not. New look who dis. You know when quarantine first started and we swore to ourselves we were going to use this time to focus on some form of self-betterment? Well, Carmelo Anthony, Nikola Jokic, Mark Gasol, James Harden, and a slew of other athletes actually did it. The audacity. While I have nothing but love for Skinny Mello and company for emerging from the shutdown fitter than ever, their jarring transformations did make me mildly aware that I'm halfway through binge-watching Insecure for the second time in the past 3 weeks. I don't know what that is. Hey, we all have to run our own race, right? Anyway, this is how the aforementioned athletes got ready to show us all up, return to the office. Things to watch. All rise. Aaron Judge is at it again. The New York Star connected for 2 bombs on Sunday night as the Yankees defeated the Red Sox 9-7. With his latest dingers, Judge extended his homer streak to 5 straight games. It's good to be a Yankees fan, or to have the Judge on your fantasy baseball team, either way. Overheard. I am with the Black Lives Matter movement, and I love and support the military and my brother and the people who have fought to defend our rights in this country. I'm a compassionate human being, and I truly love all people. I can't fully comprehend how our world, literally and figuratively, has turned into black and white. There is a line in the sand, so to speak. If you're not kneeling, you're not with us, and that's not true. Miami Heat's Myers Leonard on why he stood during the national anthem before Saturday's game. Oh, so another one has. Because someone from the Magic also did. Good for you, ESPN, for highlighting that. Remember when? On this date in 1977, Tom the Goat Brady was born. Brady would go on to play for the Michigan Wolverines, be drafted 199th overall in the 6th round of the 2000 NFL Draft. Damn. And win 6 Super Bowls in 20 seasons with the New England Patriots before taking his talents to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At 43 years old, TB12 is the oldest active quarterback in the NFL. I guess you could say he lived up to the non-existent hype. What's on tonight? Some stuff I don't care about. Until next time, remember, in keeping with my vow to maintain a positive perspective, why is that hashtagged? I feel obligated to remind you, if this were any other year but 2020, we'd be in the dog days of summer. 2 more months of regular season football, a month until NFL and college football games, and no NBA until October. But instead, every day in August is going to be like March Madness for MLB, NBA, and NHL, with games starting at noon Eastern Time and ending after midnight every single day for a month. Get into it. This has been your ESPN Daily for Monday, August 3rd, 2020. Thank you, ESPN. And last of all is Yahoo Sports Read and React. Trending. Gardner Minshew, Matthew Stafford, placed on NFL's COVID-19 reserve list. Matthew Stafford better get better. I don't remember who Gardner Minshew is. I know the name, I just don't remember who he is. European Tour golfer has to take a boat to play his shot. Ooh, my. That sounds like fun. Mets' Yoenis Cespedes doesn't show up for game, opts out of season. Apparently ghosting his team. Paul Feinbaum recalls infamous call-in of late Auburn tree poisoner Harvey Updike. An Auburn tree poisoner? Did Auburn have like a special tree and somebody killed it? That's sad. Drew Brees regrets anthem comments but will stand. Oh, thank God. They made him apologize, but they won't make him kneel. That's good. Good for him for that. Change coming to college football if players have their way. I'm sure it's not all the players. By Jay Busby. As illustrated by Drew Brees. Morning, friends. A full weekend of sports. Been a while since we had that, eh? The NBA and the NHL are humming right along, secure in their bubble. Okay, so we had a full weekend of sports, and you still have to talk about the coming change. You had a whole weekend of fodder to talk about, and this is still what you have to highlight. Fucking Yahoo. The NBA and the NHL are humming right along, secure in their bubbles. NASCAR and golf continue to knock off socially distanced races and tournaments, with few, if any, fans in attendance. Baseball, still teetering on the edge of collapse, nonetheless is playing games, for now at least. Oh, so positive. It's all a run-up to the biggest sport of them all. With all due respect to, well, everything else, football is America's game. The NFL is trying to figure its way to a season, even as more players and coaches test positive or opt out altogether. The more test positive now, the less will be testing positive later when it will be a really bad thing for people to have to sit out for 2 weeks at a time. But college football, played in close contact, played amongst student bodies from all over, played by student athletes who won't see a dime for their risks, faces the most treacherous waters. Hey, that's not entirely true. Playing in college is an investment in your future. It's an investment in the millions of dollars that you can make if you go pro, which you can't do, generally speaking, if you don't get the exposure of playing in college. There's no easy path forward for the sport, and now there's a new wrinkle. Over the weekend, players in the Pac-12 announced their intention to reach a groundbreaking new agreement with their schools, one that goes far beyond the traditional relationship of school and student-athlete. On Sunday, the student-athletes published their goals and intentions in the Players' Tribune under the heading #WeAreUnited. It's a powerful and provocative manifesto. This isn't just about money. This is about so much more. College athletes don't deserve to be paid. They get a free education, goes the traditional argument. It worked a whole lot better before college football became a multi-billion-dollar industry and coaches started banking multi-million-dollar annual salaries on the backs of those unpaid players. But even if you buy, well, maybe there should have been a cap on how much coaches could be paid. But even if you buy if it really is a multi-billion-dollar industry and that's pouring into these schools, the schools, rather than, pay themselves so much and pay their coaches so much, they could have turned around and used that money to lower tuition for students. Wouldn't that have been nice? Wouldn't that have been a good use of all that money? But even if you buy the education is enough argument, it's a hell of a leap to think that players are still getting a good deal this fall by also exposing themselves to uncertain health threats with untested safety protocols in place. Ooh. That's why student athletes are taking this unprecedented moment in history, a moment where they have more strength than they've ever had before to demand changes in an archaic system. Specifically, the Pac-12 student-athletes want safety protections during the panic, a renewed commitment to fighting racial injustice, oh brother, additional fair compensation and economic benefits, a commitment to protect all college sports, and the right to obtain long-term health insurance. Health insurance wouldn't be a bad idea. Normally it's really hard for students to have health insurance, which is why they're usually still on their parents' plans. So, why can't these players be on their parents' plans? I suppose as athletes, as especially football players. Maybe their parents have to pay a little bit too much to have them on their plans. That might be an interesting conversation. That's nothing less than a seismic overhaul of the entire college football landscape. And well, when you play football in college and you get hurt, do you actually have to pay the medical bills? I mean, if this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, college football probably should pay the medical bills of their athletes when they get injured on the field. That's nothing less than a seismic overhaul of the entire college football landscape, and as you'd expect, it's not exactly going over well with at least, some of those in power. New Washington State coach Nick Rolovich, for instance, has sought to put distance between the university and Wazoo players who signed on to the We Are United movement. Whether Rolovich cut the players or simply honored their apparent wishes to opt out of the season remained uncertain as of Sunday night. Labor protests during the panic haven't gone over well with Americans buffeted by the economic and emotional turmoil of the last few months. But unlike MLB and NFL players, student athletes aren't getting paid millions of dollars. Their interests aren't protected by any sort of union. In many cases, they're not even getting to enjoy one of the finest perks of being a student athlete. There's no such thing as a big man on virtual campus. About that whole union protecting players' interests, that's not really the case for those lower tier athletes who need the preseason to show their stuff. But I guess the unions don't care about them. The next few weeks will be among the most important in recent college football history. Of all sports, college football might come out of the panic the most changed. The entire financial picture of every athletic department, the whole bowl system, the Power 5 NCAA relationship, all of them could look very different by the time we're out from under the shadow of COVID-19. But it all starts and ends with student athletes. Right now, they have more bargaining power than they've ever had. Why? And many of them are clearly making use of it. College football might not be on just the college's terms any longer. Well, I'm sure there are definitely changes that could be made and probably should be made, such as the money could be redirected to different places where it could do more good than it has been. Why do the players have more bargaining power than they've ever had? Just because institutions are more willing to kowtow at the moment? That's not real power. That can be taken away the second the institutions change their mind. Wetzel. Can MLB save baseball from its own poor planning? Thamel. How a military academy could win the national title this year. That would be cool. Paler. Will any team take a chance on Antonio Brown in 2020? I think there was somebody who was advocating for their team to take him on, but I can't remember who it was. Derek Carr's got skills. Bold new throwing style here from the Raiders quarterback, but we're all in on it. Oh. Okay. Trying to show up Patrick Mahomes, I see. Interesting. Thanks for reading today's issue of Read and React. And that's it for Sundry Sports. Thank you, and goodbye.